How's everybody doing? Let's get started. Hey Hayden, how you?
I am good.
Awesome. Good to hear. Caleb, where are you? You look like you're in Imiloa.
No, I'm at school.
Oh, where is that? Oh, I know where that is.
Yeah.
Is that Nader's room?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Alrighty. I'm waiting for one more person, I think, to show up, or two people. Let's get started. Let's go to, we have that revision checklist, not the revision checklist, the peer editing checklist. Some of you guys weren't able to turn it in because I had to reopen the submission option to allow you guys to submit something. So let's go ahead and go into Canvas. I'm going to do some housekeeping things before we jump in today. Let's see, where is it? It's under 2.5 final draft writing, peer editing revision, peer editing final revision. So I just want to double check a couple things here. Okay, so what we did was, and it was kind of like confusing at times, so I'm just going to double check. So you had this peer revision checklist. What you have here is you should have turned in, and we're going to just resubmit it, so no big deal, okay? So I see Caleb submitted. What I want you to do is whatever you you revise, so like if you did somebody else's, also let's copy and paste that document into your document you submitted. Does that make sense to you guys? So that I have what your classmates suggested to you and what you suggested to your classmates. Is that clear, Hayden? Do you understand what I'm talking about? Okay. Kalahiki Ola, how are you? Peheoi.
Maikai.
Maika Ino, very good. How's it, Brada Man? Are you in Canvas? We just want to make sure that everybody was able to submit their peer revision checklist. So what I'm just gonna have you do is copy and paste whatever you did for your classmates and then just put it on just one document so I can see what you guys did and what was done for you, okay? Kahele Aulani, how are you? Where you stay, girl? You doing okay? You know what we're doing? Okay. Oh, hey, Josh. Alrighty. Okay, so go ahead and resubmit and then we'll get started with our day. So what is it? Next week is kind of an interesting week, yeah, because there's the celebration of mass murder of turkeys, yeah. So what we need to do is just next Wednesday is basically like a Friday, right? And so you're going to have classes for about a half an hour for each period, starting with period 1. Everybody know about that? Okay, just letting you guys know. So before Thanksgiving break, you're gonna still have stuff due. So I just giving you guys that heads up right now, okay? All right, once you're done, let's move on. Okay, so who's still working on submitting everything? Okay, everybody else done? Kaheleaulani, are you done submitting like all the checklists? Okay, so submit what you
Not
did for your,
yet.
say again?
Not yet.
Okay, we gotta submit it, okay? I only opened it for today, so you need to make sure you submit it. Okay. Now. Okay, and then let's move on. Let's go into our next module. So you should have turned in your final draft for your research paper that was due last night at 12 o'clock. And so now let's move on. We are going to start reading Night today. You guys have your books. Kalahikiola, where's your book? You got your book, your night book. No, not that book, Night. Yes, Hayden, yes. Kaheleaulani, what about you?
I have to go get it. Can I-
Oh, it's in another room. It's okay. You don't need it right now, okay? But you're going to have to read a lot today or tonight. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into module 2.6. Go ahead and just click on that interview with Ellie Wiesel, okay? Some of the videos are not playing. So I just want to make sure this one should play. It's a CNN interview with Ellie Wiesel, and Christian Amanpour is interviewing the author of Night. Okay, so can you guys pop that one up? Does that one work? It should work. Okay, so we're not going to watch that one right now because it's you guys should have it available. Thumbs up. Does it work? Okay, thank you. Alrighty. So if you guys look down below, this is the reading schedule. So this week you're going to read pages 3 to 46. Okay, next week, that's your Thanksgiving week weekend. You have from page 47 to 84. It's kind of, it looks like a lot, but it's really not. Okay, if you guys look through the book real fast, like there's very little words on each page. Okay, so if you were to consider 2 pages as 1 page, that's what it looks like. So it should be manageable, okay? Not trying to like blow a gasket out of any of you guys. Okay, so just a heads up that it looks like a lot of pages, but it really comes down to like maybe 20 pages per week if you were to look at a regular book. Okay, it says, as you read, I'm gonna have you take notes. So show me your 5 fingers. You need 5 memorable quotes per section, so per week. Can, yeah? So in your 2-column notes, so let's go ahead and start that already. So grab your notebooks, let's set that up. Let's write down notes for Night, and then write down pages 3 to 46, and then turn the page, write down notes for Night, page 47 to 83, 84. So go ahead and just let's already prepare those pages. Fold it in half, yeah. We want a 2-column note.
What was the first page?
Are you in Canvas with me? You should be in Canvas with me. It's the first section of Canvas 2.6. Okay, right there. If you scroll down, there's the reading schedule. Everybody should be following along. I mean, or not. Just joking. Okay, turn the page. So it should have like a front and back for each section just in case. Okay, and then write down 5 memorable quotes for each one. Okay, on the left-hand side, you're going to have the direct quotes with the page numbers. Okay, with the page number. And then on the right-hand side, you're going to write analysis. Okay, so set that up. Okay, so you guys have your 3 sections ready to go? Yes, Paul? Okay. So main thing you have that. I will be creating an assignment later on down the road. So just make sure you have 5 sections for 5 memorable quotes for each section. Okay. And then I was told that some of you guys couldn't watch the video that I assigned you last time from First Day Came 4. Is that right? Was it blocked? You guys are crazy. You guys are like, what video? Kalahiki,
Watched it.
You watched it. How come some people can watch it then? Did you guys like go around the...
I think sometimes the YouTube is blocked and sometimes it's not. It's weird.
Okay, so did you guys get to watch it? Because if you guys did, then we're going to move on. Okay, you know what? Let's do this then. I'm just going to play the like 5 minutes of it. I want you to take notes because these notes will translate to your poem that we're going to work on at the end of class, okay? So I'm just going to play it. We're going to have video time. I normally don't do this, but I want to make sure you at least get the front part of this video. And then if you guys missed anything, then we can talk about it, okay? Did you notice that I posted that I posted the Kamau's poem on Canvas for you guys? Hayden took the picture and then I used Hayden's picture, yeah. So I don't know if you guys know Brada Kamau, but he was my student last year. He's quite a jokester, but you would have never known that he's got this fire burning in him, okay? I mean, I hope that you guys' poem came out pretty good, but that's okay. We're going to revise it today, so all good. All right, so I'm going to play for you guys part of this video. Okay, you guys ready? You guys can take notes, okay? So let's grab some important quotes because you might be able to use those in your poem as well. Okay, you guys ready? So go ahead and title this The Danger of Indifference. The danger of indifference. You guys know what indifference means, yeah? What does it mean? Caleb, you know?
To be like different, yeah.
Say that again.
To be different.
No, indifference is like when you're like, meh, you know, meh. Where you guys like go eat? Meh, wherever. right? What do you think about, I don't know, Black Lives Matter? Yeah, whatever, right? So indifference is kind of like a synonym for apathy. What is apathy? When you could care less, right? When you don't care, eat away. How many of you guys are professional apathetic people? Where you like eat? Yeah, I don't know, wherever. Where do you want to go, right? You know, when somebody asks you a question and you ask them a question back instead, like that, right? It's like, do you like Nike or Reebok? Well, I don't know. What do you like? I like slippers, right? I don't know. Okay, you guys are like, duh, Adidas. Nah, just joke. I don't know what you guys like. Jordans, Converse. No. Vans. I don't know why you guys buy white Vans. We live in Hilo. How many of you guys have white Vans? Kalahikiola, I bet you get white Vans. Really, Caleb? Have you walked around our campus? There is like marshland in places that has green grass. You're just like, oh, I can walk through the grass. Next thing you know, you look down, all brown. Especially in front of my classroom. If we ever go back to class, don't walk on the grass in front of my classroom. It is a swamp. Do you know where my classroom is? No, yeah. Hayden, you know where my classroom is? I don't think so. Okay. All right. Here's the video. You guys ready? Hayden, give me a thumbs up when I started so that you let me know that you can hear it, okay?
As we bring you today's program, we are acutely aware that many of you are thinking about the continued unrest and soul searching in the wake of the horrific killing of George Floyd. There has been a significant spike in the number of people turning to a famous quote on our website from German pastor Martin Niemöller. As our current moment draws us once again to Pastor Niemöller's words, let's examine their origins and the man who first spoke them. I am joined today by our guest, my colleague and friend, Dr. Suzanne Brown Fleming. Hi, Suzanne.
Hi, Edna. How are you?
Nice to see you. I'm doing fine. And you?
Just fine.
Suzanne is director of the museum's international academic programs and is an expert on Christianity during the Holocaust. During the course of today's show, please post your questions for Suzanne in the comments section, and we'll get to as many of them live as we are able to in the time that we have. So to begin, for those watching who have not visited our museum in Washington, D.C., since our museum opened 27 years ago, the final wall of our permanent exhibition features powerful words credited to Pastor Martin Niemöller. What does it say, and what's it about, Suzanne?
So I want to set the stage for us a little bit first by saying how surprised visitors are when they enter our museum and our website and go through it to see that the Nazi state went from a liberal democracy to an autocracy and a totalitarian state very fast. And our visitors are also very surprised to learn how the German population itself, to the extent they could, did not resist and oftentimes agreed with the changes in society and politics around them. So in that context, when we look at this quote, we're thinking about a regime that targeted Jews, targeted millions of others. Most German citizens either let that happen, stood by and let that happen, or agreed. And in that context, I think we really see in the quote itself that lack of empathy is a key piece of why the Holocaust happened. Let's pull this quote up. First, they came for the socialists, but I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, but I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me.
So it's really about silence, and when you don't speak out on behalf of others because it seems like it's not your problem,
Right.
Where does that leave you?
Right.
Suzanne, we've had a couple of really powerful comments already come in from viewers. Dottie from Oregon reached out to send us a photo of this quote on our wall, as we've just seen, which she has been carrying in her wallet for 40 years.
Wow.
And a viewer named Jody shared that the whole quote on the museum wall brought her to tears and she has never forgotten it. So thank you, Dottie. Thank you, Jody, for sharing that perspective and the power and resonance of these words shared by so many millions of people around the world. Not only do people find great meaning in this, but they also adopt and adapt these words. And it's considered a poem by some, the structure of it, in current day protests. Let's take a look at a couple. Let's look at a sign that appeared at a July 2018 march here in the United States in response to American immigration policy, where a protester is saying, first they came for the Muslims, then they came for the Latinos, and then they came for us. Stop the hate. So this woman knows that people will recognize the structure, know what she's invoking, and she is using it in the service of a cause in which she believes strongly. A second example from a different part of the political spectrum is a meme that has been circulated on social media showing different flags. First, they came for this flag, then they came for this flag, and especially for viewers outside of the United States who may not recognize these flags, the person who created this meme is invoking very strong moments in American history, the American Revolution, the American Civil War, and depicting assaults on civil liberties, on personal liberties and personal freedoms using this quote. So it has appeal and resonance all across the political spectrum. What is it about this that makes people still invoke this quote 75 years later, Suzanne?
It's really a timeless message. It goes across time and space. I think that we've seen people across political spectrums, ethnic groups, religious groups, all parts of society can really resonate with this. It's a universalist message, and it's a message about empathy. I think we all can see that.
Okay, so just from what she shared, what should you have written down? What have you written down up to this point? Okay, Caleb, what have you written down at this point?
Like the quote and how it's 75 years old and who wrote it and the power in a quote.
Okay, very good. Very good. Okay, Josh, we're taking notes. We're watching this video that some of us may or may not have seen because it was blocked on YouTube. Okay, so we're taking notes. Kaheleolani, what about you? What did you write down? What jumped out at you?
I also wrote about the quote and like the significance of it.
Okay, what about the significance of it?
About how people won't speak out about things that they think don't affect them, and
Okay.
how the quote is still like used and modified today.
Right. What did you notice, Kalahikiola? What did you notice about the two examples, that the two versions that we saw? So like the first one was saying about here. Okay, so first they came for the Muslims, then they came for the Latinos, then they came for us. Stop the hate, right? So there's that one. And then we have this one, right? Are the messages the same? Is the intent the same?
I do not know.
Okay, can somebody help Kalahikiola out? Because this is, I mean, this is, you know, somebody else's version of what we're doing as well. So Hayden, what about you, buddy?
I would say no.
Okay, this one is talking
Yes,
about
yes.
what?
The Muslims, the Latinos, and that lady.
Okay, so immigrants, right? This was to
Yes.
speak up against for immigrants. This one is speaking up for who?
The Americans.
Right. Okay. The threats against America. So two different perspectives, but the framework is still the same. We can easily identify that there are versions of this poem, right, or of these words that people from all sides use, right? Okay, so I just wanted to kind of show this to you guys. What I want to then show you is this. Hang on, I can't see without. Okay, so what I want you guys to do is this. Okay, in the chat, I'm going to give you this website. Okay, so let's look. So what we have here is the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum. Okay, everybody see that? Go into the chat, Kalahikiola. Okay, and I want you guys to go back to the home page. So we can go to just go back to the home page. You got to click on the title. Okay, so this will allow you to do further research for Night, right? The historical background. So you guys can go ahead and check out the Holocaust, the survivors and victims. This is where, if you click on that, go ahead and click on that one. What we have here is we have even interviews by survivors. So at the time they were very young. They were younger than you guys when the Holocaust occurred, and now they are telling their stories. Okay, so you guys can actually see some of the videos, the oral histories especially. This is as real as it gets. I mean, you can look through the film and video archives. You can look through a number of different links that bring you to the interviews of these people who survived. Okay, so go ahead at the very top. I need you to place this into your book. Go ahead and bookmark this tab so that you have it. And then I'm going to move on. Okay, so just want to let you guys know, okay, that I told you guys last class that there is this Holocaust museum, okay, and it's actually quite easy to find if you go to Washington DC. So you guys are really familiar, like you've seen at least on movies, right? The Lincoln Memorial, correct? With giant Abraham Lincoln sitting on that chair, right? He's carved out of stone, right? We've seen many movies. So I'm just going to tell you exactly how to get to this Holocaust Museum, Memorial Museum. So if you walk up to the Lincoln Memorial and you turn to your left and walk 2 blocks down the road that way, you'll see this red building. So you guys can see this, yeah? You can see the red building, right? And then next to it, that's the Holocaust Museum. Okay, it's about 5 or 6 stories. What you do is, when you get up there, what you do is well, first of all, you see this sign before you walk in to kind of set the tone. So when you look at this sign, it says, the next time you witness hatred, the next time you see injustice, the next time you hear about genocide, think about what you saw, right? So what is this, right? Okay. It's to set the tone for when you go into the museum. Does anybody know what genocide is? Yeah, Caleb, what is it? What do you know it to be?
Like mass murder, like not like a lot of people die of a certain like the like how do I explain this? Like a lot of people die in like a certain group of people.
Right, a targeted group of people, right? So the Nazis targeted the Jewish people, right? And also other people who were outside the margins, yeah, marginalized people. Okay, so as we go through this, I just want to show you guys some pictures. I encourage everyone, if they get a chance to go to Washington, D.C., to visit this memorial museum. So if you guys look, this is kind of like the lobby of the museum. Sadly, before you go into the museum, there are metal detectors, there's security in the front for obvious reasons. Okay. You will not see people running around, laughing, having a good old time. They treat this place like what it is, a memorial, okay, for all the people who passed. You can hear people's shoes squeak on the ground. That's how quiet it is. It's a somber place. It's a solemn place. It's like the same like feeling you walk into a funeral. Okay, so as you go, you like go to the left, and there's these huge elevators. You go up to the very top floor, and then you walk your way down. If you have people in your family who belong to, I believe it's either the military, fire, police, things like that, those occupations, you can also call in and reserve your tickets for free. So just a heads up on that. Yeah, for real, you can, but you have to call to reserve your tickets because each day they only have so many tickets to give. I don't know about right now with COVID. I don't know why we would be traveling at this point, but when things get safer, I would encourage you guys to save up all those cans and bottles and go to DC to check it out. Okay, so as you go through this, I'm just showing you some pictures. There is actually a giant case of these. So if you can imagine what, like, you know, how big your classrooms were. So it's as long as a classroom. It's about 5 feet wide, and I don't know, I think it's about 3 feet tall. That's how many shoes are in this one exhibit. I don't think we need to say whose shoes these are. Okay. These shoes belong to, but that's just an example. There's also like a bin full of hair as well, to kind of show how inhumane the Jewish people were treated. Okay, so this is a crematorium. Okay, this is kind of what it looked. This is one of the exhibits in the museum. Okay, I think you know what this is used for. Okay. There is a wall of arms with tattoos on them. So in night, you're going to hear about Eli's tattoo, the number he was identified as. Okay. Every year I have students say, oh, we'll just take a knife and scrape this off and escape. Right. But if you guys notice, you see how the tattoo is basically in the same area as everybody else. So if you scrape your skin off and you have that that scar left, you would be easily identified, right? Okay. Can anybody guess why they were given a number? Josh, what do you think? Why would a I don't know, a powerful group of people take over another group of people and give them numbers instead?
To keep track of what they are, I guess.
Yep, to keep track of them. What else? They were referred to as the number, as their number. Why would a conquering, a dominating force give numbers instead of say their names? Alicia, what do you think?
Well, they could have it so that they could know how much people they like have or whatever, or
Okay.
to make them feel like less of a person.
Right, there you go. To feel less of a person. Kind of like cattle, right? Some of my cattle, my ranching friends, they go up and brand their cattle so that they can identify whose cattle is who, right? And to double check on whatever they're doing for the cattle. Okay, so is this humane or inhumane? You know the answer. Okay. Okay, next. So there's plenty details or facts that have shocked you guys. We've been preparing for today. You know, just the sheer number of 6 million Jews murdered should be shocking to you. As we go through this book, yeah, there's probably going to be some topics that you wanna further dive into because you're wondering the question of why. Why the heck did this happen? Okay. Why did they use the hair of the Jewish people for like mattresses or padding, or the skin for the lampshades? Or why did they use the Jewish people as like lab rats to do other types of experiments on them? Okay. So also, as we go through this, you're going to start to see some pretty obvious parallels, comparisons of, okay, this happened, whoa, now I can see how maybe parts of this could be happening or might be happening in our current time. Okay, so last class, a student asked a question about genocide. Is genocide going on now? Yes or no? Raise your hand, yes. Or if no, don't raise your hand. Do you think genocide is going on now? You don't know. Okay. So what we have here is in the Holocaust Memorial Museum at the top. Do you see where I'm at? Right? Right there. In the museum, there's a whole like section of the museum that talks about genocide and the other eras of genocide throughout history and throughout the world. Quite interesting to see what other countries are have gone through that. All parts of the world, by the way, not just Europe, right? Asia, Middle East, you name it. Several years ago, there was a chemical bombs being set off in a country and they had to flee. Do you remember hearing about that? They had to flee to like Greece and like other European countries, and some of the European countries did not let those people in. They were displaced people. Okay, you should look that up. It's so crazy. Early warning projects. Okay, very interesting. So anyway, I'm referring to this website so you guys can check it out. Okay, we're gonna move on. Let's move on here. Okay, so as you guys go into your Canvas, okay, what I want you guys to do is we'll go through the night introduction slides. Okay, so what I need you guys to do is this. Go ahead, you're gonna create a copy and add your name to your copy. So let's go ahead and click on that right here, night introduction slides, and create your own copy. Give me a thumbs up once you're done making your own copy, and then go ahead and share these settings. Anyone with the link can comment. You okay, Hayden? Got a headache? Oh, good. Okay. All right. So everybody made their copy. You guys good? Okay. So what I need you to do now is pull down your copy of the tab and then X out of the student copy. Okay. So now what I need you to do is have your copy side by side Canvas. Everybody did that? Yes? Okay. So then what we can do is work off of the slides. Okay, so let's just start, everybody. Let's get on to slide number 2. Everybody there? Okay, so we're gonna all read this together, okay? And then I'll finish the last couple lines. So the first never shall I forget will be Caleb. Okay, you're gonna read that one out loud. The second never shall I forget will be Kalahikiola, you lucky bugger, you get the smallest one. Okay, the third one will be Hayden. The fourth one, never shall I forget those flames, will be Kaheleaolani. Josh, you're gonna do the fifth one. You're gonna read the fifth one with the nocturnal flames. The sixth one will be Alicia, okay, about the moments. And then the seventh never shall I forget will be Brooke. Okay. And then we'll all say never together at the end. Okay, you guys ready? Okay, go ahead, Caleb, start us off.
Never shall I forget the first night in camp. They turned my life into a one long night, 7 times sealed. Never shall I forget that smoke. Never shall I forget the small faces of the children whose bodies I saw transformed into smoke under a silent sky. Never shall I forget those flames that consumed my face forever. Never shall I forget.
Caleb, you're only supposed to read the first never shall I forget.
Oh shoot, my bad. Sorry,
That's
you're glitching out. I couldn't hear you.
Oh, you were going at it. Thank you. Okay, just read the first one.
Never shall I forget that night, the first night in camp that turned my life into a long 7 times sealed.
Never shall I forget that smoke.
Never shall I forget the small faces of the children whose bodies I saw transformed into smoke under a silent sky.
Never shall I forget the flames that consume my face forever.
Josh?
I can't find it. Wait.
And this is why we do this. We're in the night introduction slides. You have to make your own copy. I'm not sure what's going on, but you need to follow along. You know that emoji with the big smiley face that like smile like that? That's the smile I'm giving you. I'll just read it for you. Get on the same page as us, please. Never shall I forget the nocturnal silence that deprived me for all eternity of the desire to live.
Never shall I forget those moments that murdered my God and my soul and turned my dreams to ashes.
Never shall I forget those things, even were I condemned to live as God is as long as God himself.
Yeah, never. Okay, so what we have here is we have never. Yes, this is a poem by Eli. He is recollecting the impact of the Holocaust on him. Okay, we see the things he's talking about as he's writing about the smoke, about the small faces of the children. You gotta be a really messed up person to wanna hurt kids, right? You really gotta be a messed up person, right?
Kumu.
Yes.
I saw my dad, he was watching this movie called Schindler's List.
Yes.
Yeah, and I watched some of it with him. And
Brutal,
one of the
yeah?
scenes, like, yeah, the kid was trying to clean the bathtub and he was like using the wrong soap or something. And then when he walked out down the stairs, the guy shot him from like up top with a rifle.
Yep. Schindler's List, worth every minute. It's like, I don't know, 3.5 hours long. And it's so sad. Schindler's List, the guy Schindler was one of those inside people in like during that time that helped save a bunch of Jewish people. Toward the end of the movie, he breaks down and he's like, he takes off his wedding ring and he's like, this could have saved like 10 more people. Like he just breaks down and he saved hundreds of Jewish people, if not thousands. If you guys have a chance to watch Schindler's List, watch it with your parents because it's pretty gruesome. Like you're gonna actually see like the real like emaciated bodies. Yeah. So anyway, what else do we see in this poem? Check the words out. Okay. What jumps out at you? Okay, Alicia, what is something that in this poem you're like, dang? Kalahikiola, what about you? What do you see that you're like,
Never shall I forget those moments that murdered my God and my soul and turned my dreams to ashes.
Why did you choose that?
This sounds like harsh.
Yeah.
Like critical.
So if you are a very religious or even spiritual person and you have something happen to you in such an impactful way that it causes you to lose that faith in your God or in your spirituality, it must be major, right? So this poem, we open up night with this poem so that you guys understand at least a fraction of what happened to Eli. He was a little kid at the time. He lost everybody except his dad. And at the end, you're going to find out what happens to his dad. It's super sad. Okay. All right. let's move on. Okay, so what we have here, go to slide 3, you guys. Slide 3, we have, what we have here are fill in the blanks. So when you have your introduction slides tonight, if you scroll down, you have my copy. Do you see that? And so you're filling in the blanks with important words. So let's just do the first, so what slide is that? Slide 2? What slide is this? Slide 3. Let's do slide 3 together. As you know, you're going to be typing in Elie Wiesel, right? The original title Elie Wiesel gave the novel was "And the World Has Remained Silent." Okay. Took 10 years. He wrote this book after 10 years of silence. So you got to understand something about the poem that we're writing, right? First They Came For, right? We are talking about staying in our lanes, and when is it the right thing to get out of our lanes and stand up for other people, right? He wasn't going to tell his story, and he realized that if he didn't tell his story, then the Nazis were still winning, right? And if we don't tell our story, then whomever is in power is still winning, right? So you guys got to make sure that you understand the basis of your poem, okay? So when you look, right? What is it? What's the next thing, right? So as you guys go through, go to slide 4. There's only one box you have to fill in, one blank you have to fill in. Okay, so I'm gonna give you guys about 6 minutes right now to just do part of it. Is that okay with you guys? Okay, go ahead, 6 minutes, and then we'll move on. Okay, everybody understand where they're looking. Give me a thumbs up if you understand. You're looking at Canvas, and then you're looking at your slides. This is going to be submitted, right? Your slideshow. Okay, so make sure you pay Attention to the themes. There's a father-son relationship. Ooh, that's going to be a hard one. Loss of faith. Okay. Voice versus silence. They're going to run throughout the entire book. Did you guys get the link to the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum in the chat? Yeah, it popped in. No?
No.
Oh, that's weird. Bombers. Let me try again. Oh, that's why. Okay, there. Click on it. Now is it there? Yeah.
Yes.
Darn it. I was just talking to myself, basically. Thanks for letting me know. Okay. So what slide are you on? Caleb, what slide are you on?
I am on the Holocaust Notes 10. Wait, what's that?
Slide. You can kind of skip 10 and 11 because it's just a picture of like what it looks like at the time.
I am on slide.
On the left-hand side should give you a number, yeah. Josh, what about you? What slide number are you on? Hmm?
17.
Okay, right on. Is everybody past 15? That's what I'm asking. Okay. So if you're not, just go ahead and go to slide 15. When you go to slide 15, there's 2 video clips, okay? I need to explain what that is, okay? So you have to, I think, put it in present mode to play it, but do that later, okay? But basically, what I want to point out with this slide is that, you know, the question is, how did a whole, you know, a lot of people in the country get basically brainwashed or inculcated, or I don't know what you want to call it, or led to believe that Jewish people were so bad, right? That they needed to be treated poorly, right? So what happened was early on, the Nazis took over the schools and inculcated or indoctrinated. You ever heard of that word, indoctrinate? So the word indoctrinate means to like teach a certain way so that, or learn a certain thing so that everybody understands that's the way. Does that make sense? It's kind of a spooky thing to think about. So like, I mean, it could be a good thing, I guess. We're all indoctrinated with values, for example, right? Aloha, malama, things like that, right? But you can also be indoctrinated with these other things. So what they did was they went into the schools. Why would you go into the schools first? If you're trying to take over a group of people to take over another group of people, right? So why would you need the schools in order to create your army? Why do you think?
To cut off like future generations, or like teach them their ways instead of their own.
Right. None of us were raised to hate anybody. Let me back that up. None of us were born to hate other people. Right? But, right, as we get older, we learn to hate, right? We weren't born to hate. We learn those behaviors. Okay, so the easiest way to change a whole like army of young people is to indoctrinate them in the schools, right? That's why before in public schools, we used to do the Pledge of Allegiance, right? Do you remember doing that when you're little? Yeah, do we do that anymore? Not really. Yeah, it's really interesting. We used to sing all kinds of songs, right? You guys remember those songs? No? God Bless America. No. Oh, interesting. Okay, so anyway, the Nazis went into the schools to start training the young men, the young boys to become soldiers. Very interesting. Okay, so that's slide 15. Go to slide 20. Actually, slide 19 starts talking about totalitarianism. Okay, in meaning total control over the government is in the hands of very few people. Okay. Go to slide 20. We talk about totalitarianism, or the totalitarian state as a state of being in paranoia or fear dominated by fear. Okay, so if you weren't supporting the Nazis, then you were in the other column, right? You weren't safe, right? Very interesting. I think interesting is the right adjective, but we're going to move on. Okay, so anyway, let's go ahead. Let's minimize this and you can work on this later. I just want to move you guys forward because this you guys can do on your own time. You will be learning about persecution and obviously what role did the United States have in this whole ordeal in the Holocaust, right? One of the questions that pops up every year is what did the United States do and why did it take them so long, right? And then you're going to also learn about the final solution and then what happens after the unconditional surrender of the Nazis in 19, do you remember the year? 19 what? 40. It was in that video you should have watched in Edpuzzle. 1940 what?
3.
5.
I was close.
Yeah, so you guys gotta pay attention. It's gonna start with the invasion, right, of Poland in 1939. Okay, so as the memoir continues, you're going to see the dates. So the closer you get to 1945, the closer to the end of the book you're going to be. Okay, so just a heads up on that. All right, let's move on. Let's go back into Canvas, please. So submit those night slides to that section in our module for this week. And then let's get going with our revising First They Came For poem. So go ahead and get your copy up and running. Everybody should have your copy up and running, your version up and running. Okay, and then I'm going to talk you through some, and then I'm going to have 2 people share their poems on the screen. Okay, and then I'm going to revise live so you guys can kind of see how to revise your own poem. Is anybody brave enough to put their poem on the screen when the time comes? Anybody need help? No, not yet. Okay.
Law was texting me earlier that he needed help.
Who? Kala Hikiola. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, he emailed me yesterday that he needed help too. So no worry, I get him.
He didn't FaceTime me crying, saying that he needed help.
Yeah, and then Alicia would text me. I mean, not text. And then Alicia emailed me and said, you know, Kumo, I need help with my poem too. So anyway, all right, let's get going. Kahele Alani, you there? You still there, buddy? Oh, hi, hello. Hey. Okay, just checking. All right. So I'm going to share my screen again. I want you guys to pay attention to what I'm talking about, but have your poem side by side, please, so that you can kind of look to see, oh gosh, maybe I should change this part. Okay, so I'm just going to go through this and you guys kind of revise as I'm going along. Okay, so I read my poem last class, but I want to go back to it because I want to explain a little bit deeper on what I did. Okay, and then you're going to look at your poem and you're going to see that you need to make some changes. So here we go. First, they came for the minorities and I did not speak out. I just tried to figure out, who am I, right? Duh, I'm a minority. Why? I'm brown and I'm a woman. Okay, because I did not discover the strength in my own identity when I was young. So if you look, what I did was I provided insight, not an excuse, insight. There's a difference, right? And the insight was that I wasn't ready to stand up. You cannot stand up for yourself or for other people if you're not ready. If you don't have that inner strength yet, then it's not your time. Okay, and everybody will find their exact moment when they're ready to speak up. Okay, so find that insight to provide us with a perspective of who you are or where you came from. Okay. What is that? Josh, what are you doing? Where you stay? I see the. Are you lying down? Please sit up. Okay. Next, second stanza. What I did was I referred to a historical reference. Okay, and what this is then they came for the women, and I did not speak out because I did not live in a time when women were worth less than farm animals. I'm going back to a historical into a historical event, right? That what? Right? Yeah, women were less than farm animals at one point. Women could not vote. 50 years ago, maybe 40 years ago, women were not allowed to even have their own credit card. Right? That's unfathomable at this point. Right? Okay, so add some historical details to your poem. Next, then they came for me and I found my voice through the pages of history because I finally realized that I am the sum total of the past efforts of civil rights activists and soldiers who fought for equality. That line is wordy. That line is a mouthful of words and it loses its steam because it's so wordy. Okay. So what am I looking here? I'm looking at adding that transition and the shift. So the top part of your poem is the what you see, right? This is why people walk away. But then there needs to be that shift in the middle. And that shift is going to be now to how we've changed our mindsets. So when you look, the bottom part, when you start your anaphora, right? What you have here is your own repeating phrase. Some of you guys need to choose a better repeating phrase. Yeah. So let me see. Josh, what was your anaphora? What did you choose? What's your repeating phrase?
Was although.
Although, good. Okay. What about you, Caleb?
And yet.
And yet. Okay, so rule number 1, don't copy me, right? But yeah, have that as a placeholder. Okay, let's have everybody go to the transitions link. Yeah, so go ahead and start a new tab. These transitions for opposition can help you find a transition for your anaphora, okay? Like regardless, nevertheless. Those are more powerful than and yet. Okay. So Caleb, what I did was I chose a really lame one so that you wouldn't choose a really lame one. Okay. But that's fine that you have it right now. Just we're revising. Albeit somebody bust that one. Yeah. Okay. Moving back to the revision. And yet we find ourselves fighting the same fight of having that dream, his dream. So I'm pretty sure that most of you guys were explicit in your poem. Poems are made to be more like hints, and the reader has to guess what you mean by that. That's what poems are. Okay, so when I look at this, you don't hear me say anything about Martin Luther King Jr., but you know I'm talking about him. Does that make sense? Right? I don't have to say, I have a dream, right? That one day, right? I mean, I know that you know that, and that's why I used his dream. Make sense? I use this pronoun his, right? This possessive pronoun his, so that you know what I'm referring to. Okay, that's what you call implicit writing. Okay, make your readers earn the meaning. Next, and yet we find ourselves increasingly divided by our views of society, only to forget that we are in this together. Hey, we got to paint the picture. This does nothing here. Divided like what? Right? Throw in a metaphor. What does that look like? Right? We need a bridge. right? For this gaping hole in the soul of our country, something like that. Build that picture. Like this, the next line. And yet we must find a way to hold the hands of our brothers and sisters. I'm using the reference of the I Have a Dream speech with the brothers and sisters reference. Okay. Regardless of the many band-aids healing the wounds of words. Imagery. Band-aids are healers. What else could be a healer, right? Essential oils. Just joking. All right. So figure that out. Okay. We're already saying people are hurting, but you know what? We're going to move on. Even if we got to put all those band-aids on us. You guys remember being little and like you fall down or you hurt something and you're like, I need a band-aid, and there's no blood. You just needed the band-aid, right? You guys know what I'm talking about? You've never watched a little kid and the kid's like, I need a band-aid, and you're like, it's not bleeding. I need a band-aid. Okay, come on. We know. You're like, oh, that was me when I was little. No, my mom always had band-aids. Yeah, okay, whatever. All right, and then at the very bottom, I busted out lyrics to a song. Why? Because the lyrics of, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. That thing goes into your ear and seeps through your brain and then goes to your heart, and you got it stuck in your head for a couple days. Select words like how you select your friends. Be picky. Ooh, you guys are like, oh, I'm friends with everybody. Well, your close friends, you know, the friends you can count on your 5 fingers. Yeah, it'll save you a lot of headache. But be nice to everybody. That was my commercial break. All right, going back. Last line. When you look at this, right, I added the metaphor of the common denominator, right? Everybody has something in common. Like what? Same thing like seam, right? A thread that sews us all together, right? Like what? Crazy glue. Like duct tape. Maybe duct tape. Duct tape's kind of weak. Maybe Gorilla Glue, right? What can join us all together? You figure it out. Okay. So make sure you're ready to share out next week. Be ready. How many of you guys again is in Mr. Stack's class? Yes. Yes, be ready because that's the poem you're going to be sharing. Okay? Kahele Alani, don't look at me like that. You're like, what? I got to speak in class. Yes. Okay, it's a speech class. Make sure your poem gives everybody chicken skin though, okay? Don't just be first to kill for the whatevers, okay? All right, hit the next button. So after you're done with reading, okay, everybody see that I'm on reflection on section 1. Everybody see that, yes? You guys are good at pretending. You guys didn't pretend all the way. When I was talking about the Holocaust Museum Memorial website, you guys were all pretending like you guys was looking at something. That was a good one. You guys are so kolohe. Yeah, Hayden, whatever. Okay, so what we have here is this, right? It says, after reading pages 3 to 46 of Night by Elie Wiesel, what are 2 questions that you have for the characters or author? You can drop 2 questions. You got to explain your reasons for asking these questions though, okay? And then you're going to respond to 2 students. Got it. Pretty easy. This last part over here is where you're going to submit your revised copy for the poem. Everybody good? No membing this week. Only for extra credit. 3 sessions, 3 extra credit points. If you just want to do 1 session, you get 1 extra credit point. Got it? 1 session, 1 extra credit point, up to 3. Some of you guys, I'm not looking at any of you guys in particular, but if you want it, it's there. Okay. Questions? No? All right. Let's start reading night. Okay, so grab your book. Everybody have their book? We're going to start on page 3. You guys have your notebook?
What book is that?
Day. Tonight.
Okay.
Okay. You get them? Yes. You know, Kalahikiola, you are a comedian. You're not those comedians that when tease Paula Fuga. But no, that was horrible. Did you see that? That was messed up. One of them should have been like, that's not cool. And did you see that guy was actually homeless at one point? His apology post. Okay. Good job. Yeah, you got to look at it. I couldn't believe it. Why would you tease somebody that?
Wait.
Yeah.
What? What is this? What are we talking about?
Oh,
I'm so confused.
you know who Paula Fuga is? I'll be your parachute. She sings with Mike Love, the local reggae guy. She was performing for the food basket to raise money for the food basket. And there were these guys from a local radio station who was kind of like the host. And Paula Fuga, who is this famous singer in Hawaii, big lady, nice lady, full of aloha. She just shared that when she was little, she used to have to eat from a rubbish can. And then the guys, the hosts, who I guess are part of like a radio show, they're kind of like comedians too, but they took it way too far. Do you remember hearing about this? Yeah. And they were cracking jokes about eating from the rubbish can. And it's like, dude. And then she ended up, she couldn't sing because she started crying. Anyway. I'm amazed nobody like said anything when it was happening, because she was trying to play it off. Like she was actually trying to laugh it off and say, nah, you guys, it makes me really sad. And then they kept going. It's a really hard video to watch. Anybody watch that video? It's really hard. Like I could only watch like a minute of it. I was like, this is sick. I cannot. Anyway, okay, let's get started. We're on page 3. You guys have your notebooks because we're going to take notes. Okay. I'm going to start reading and then we can move on. I'll just call on somebody. You read a couple paragraphs and then we'll move on. What time is it? Oh, okay. They call him Mushi the Beetle, as if his entire life had never had a surname. He was the jack of all trades in a Hadistic house of prayer, the Shibig. The Jews of Scythe, the little town of Transylvania, where I spent my childhood, were fond of him. He was poor and lived in utter penury, which means extreme poverty. As a rule, our townspeople, while they did help the needy, did not particularly like them. Moshi the Beetle was the exception. He stayed out of people's way. His presence bothered no one. He had mastered the art of rendering himself insignificant, invisible. Physically, he was as awkward as a clown. His waif-like shyness made people smile. As for me, I liked his wide, dreamy eyes gazing off into the distance. He spoke little. he sang, or rather he chanted, and the few snatches I caught here and there spoke of divine suffering, of the Shekinah in exile, where according to the Kabbalah, it awaits in its redemption linked to that of man. I met him in 1941. I was almost 13 and deeply observant. By day, I studied Talmud, and by night, I would run to the synagogue to weep over the destruction of the temple. Okay, so right here, the one thing that I'm gonna have you guys write down is how old he was in 1941. Go ahead and write that down on the left side of your notes. So it's from page 3. Go ahead and write it down. And no pretend to write it down, okay? Actually write it down, okay, you guys? I know you guys, oh, thank you so much, Hayden. Awesome, awesome, okay? So we know that he's 13. You guys are what, 14, 15 already? Yeah? So 1941, we already know it's been 2 years since Germany invaded Poland, right? 1939 was the year Germany invaded Poland to start World War II. Okay, so I'm setting you guys up here. Make sure you understand that, right? On the right-hand side, you should comment on him being only 13 years old, right? And having to go through this. So as you guys know, that he is of Jewish faith. I'm not very familiar with the Jewish faith. I just know that you're going to be reading about a lot of the terms from the Jewish faith. Okay, it's easy to look up. And I know that he's just of Jewish faith. Okay, so anyway, I'm gonna let you guys go. Okay, but no revision for First Day Came For. I need you to meet up with me if you want me to revise or help you revise your poem. Okay, I will help you guys. And then also, you gotta read to page 46. So you need to, where's your planners? Go ahead and write it down in your planners. Alicia, where your planner, girl? Where your planners? What, you stop using them? Okay, look, blank. Blank, no nothing. Oh, okay, okay. Okay, read to page 46. Take notes, 5 main quotes with the analysis. Okay, and then the poem. All good? Everybody turned in their final draft, right? Okay. Alrighty. Okay. Email me if you need help. Okay. I will help you if you need help. Anybody need help? Anybody want to let me know now that I need to meet with you guys or no? You guys are like, nah, I'm good. I got my therapy animal, pet, whatever. Okay. All right, you guys, work hard. We're going to be reading about a lot of like difficult things. Like, for example, there's going to be in the first several pages, the details of babies being thrown into the air and shot. Yeah, I got my tea. Yeah. Cute doggy. Poor thing. Okay. Okay, bye, you guys. Email me if you need to. Okay. Shaka Brothers.
Michael.
Oh, Michael. Josh, you good? You need help with anything? No? Okay, work on that poem. You have a good start, okay? Okay, bye.
Bye.